How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Crypto Clout. I am your host, FaZe Crypto, and unfortunately, my prediction of the $7,000 Bitcoin appears to be more a reality day in, day out. I have people giving me comments because, there were people who laughed at my $7,000 prediction when I made it a week ago, and I was teasing about it in the technical analysis videos before then, but I really started to advocate for that sort of mentality. I was pretty sure that it was going to happen a week ago. I mean, you got to think about the sort of pandemic, the corona sort of thing that we see happening. And I think the Bitcoin as a store of fear, remember Buffett talking about, Bitcoin's a store of fear. And I think that was one of the things responsible for pumping up Bitcoin. I mean, that sort of safe haven asset sort of conversation does come to mind. And I think that it's interesting to look at how it can sort of just flip on a dime, and then that sort of fear, uncertainty, and doubt can sort of work in the opposite direction. But it doesn't hurt my long-term perspectives of Bitcoin, and certainly not my long-term perspectives for blockchain. We'll be talking about Cardano in this video as well. Of course, drops 11% while we're witnessing a lot of this different, uncertainty and stuff with the Bitcoin sort of does trickle down to the altcoins as well. Definitely a lot of things to talk about, but I'm not in any way disgruntled. I just like to see these things happen so that I can buy the dips and get these things on sale. But of course, remember, this video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. I'm not your dad. I'm not your financial advisor. Merely here expressing my opinions on these different subjects. And I have an interesting video to show right here. Milton Friedman predicted Bitcoin in 1999. So we're going to put this up and we're going to watch it.
But I think a much more reliable source of optimism is the growth of the internet. In your area, the major effect of the internet will be to make it harder for government to collect taxes. Governments can collect taxes best on things that don't move. Land is an ideal basis of taxation because you can't take it away. Yep. Individual states cannot go as far in taxing personal income as the federal government can, because people can move from one state to the other more easily than they move across countries. The internet is going to make it very difficult to collect taxes on services of all kinds. After all, you can complete these transactions in cyberspace, not on the ground. Computer companies now are getting their programming done in India. I doubt that anybody's paying any taxes on any of that. No. So that I think that the internet is going to be one of the major forces for reducing the role of government. The one thing that's missing, but that will soon be developed, is a reliable e-cash, a method whereby on the internet you can transfer funds from A to B without A knowing B or B knowing A. The way in which I can take a $20 bill and hand it over to you, and there's no record of where it came from. And you may get that without knowing who I am. That kind of thing will develop on the internet, and that will make it even easier for people to use the internet. Of course, it has its negative side. It means that the gangsters, the people who are engaged in illegal transactions will also have an easier way to carry on their business. But I think that a tendency to make it harder to collect taxes will be a very important positive effect of the internet.
So really, really interesting stuff there. He almost spelled out the entire cryptocurrency narrative, 10 years before it was even on anybody's mind. It's interesting just to look at. I mean, I think I'll be retweeting this too. Bitcoin is the future. Retweet this tweet so others, can see it. I think that happy to be an advocate and in the position that I am right now, because we are witnessing a paradigm shift, the likes of which has never been seen before, and it can't really be quantified. So we're going to see this sort of back and forth perspective, and people are going to not. I mean, this is the volatile time of cryptocurrency, but it'll all change. So anyway, this article right here, talking about the Cardano drop. So the crypto market is on the edge of a potential market-wide bearish reversal that may set the capitalization below 200 billion as Bitcoin shortly breaches below 9,000 USD in the early trading hours of the U.S. market on Wednesday. The sharp decline in BTC's price is influencing the market-wide bloodshed, and of course, Cardano being a altcoin does not, is not immune from it. But I do think that it is interesting. And, thank God. I mean, I don't want to see Bitcoin go to $100,000 just yet. I want time to accumulate it, because once the real mass adoption starts going, I think that it's going to be anybody's ball game. The chips will be down, and the time to accumulate these unimaginable amounts of BTC. I mean, you could still own a full Bitcoin. I think the average person could still own a Bitcoin. I think of course, the day and age of owning several hundred Bitcoin, that time has that time I would say is safely historically behind us. The average person won't own hundreds of Bitcoin. The average person might own one Bitcoin. And even then, less people have that opportunity. And as the price continues to increase, that'll be more and more few and far in between. But I do definitely take away from all of this that we've been through that blockchain technology. I mean, I think that in a day and age where Bitcoin does have a few of its components challenged, something like Cardano does have a huge potential long term. I mean, I would say we started with Bitcoin, which is 2008 technology started as the digital sort of cash conversation, and then building on top of that, we have something like Ethereum with its smart contracts, and logically the next step in the evolution of what we can expect. And I would say the future would look a lot like something like Cardano, and I think it'll be interesting to see how the space continues to develop. And I think that right now people have their, Bitcoin clocking in at 8,840. I think right now what we see is people don't have a necessity. I mean, you look into countries where they don't have access to banks, they don't have the problem, the solution Bitcoin offers is not a problem in the Western parts of the world by a long shot. The United States has the functionality of the reliability of banking and so forth. The average person doesn't need Bitcoin, but I think as things continue to change, as the world becomes more increasingly online, we'll see that money's being left on the table by not working with Cardano and the like, and many of these other digital, decentralized sort of entities. So it will be interesting to see how that conversation continues to play out, and will be very interesting to see. I like this video right here. This guy's putting $1 into a Bitcoin. They have one of these at my local mall, where you put the money in there and then you get the Bitcoin out. Will be interesting to see how this space continues to develop. So I think it'll be interesting just to see how cryptocurrency and all these other aspects this is a funny meme right here too. So that's about all I have to say before I start rambling, and I'd like to watch watch out for more updates. I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.